Your most powerful tool for troubleshooting computer systems is your mind. In every case, the computer is going to be giving you something that tells you something is wrong. Whether it's an error message or it's a vague symptom, there will always be output from the machine, or a lack of output, which is kind of output, isn't it? It's just not the output that's desired or originally intended. There's something coming out of that server that's telling you something's not right. You may not be the one to discover the error. It could be a coworker, colleague, your boss, let's hope not, who comes to you and says, this doesn't seem to be working. But in every case, something is coming out of the computer server that's telling you something is not right here. You have to be able to take whatever that is, whether it's an error message or it's a lack of output in some way. It could be very explicit or it could be very vague. It could be that every time you try to connect to the server via SSH, you're receiving an error message. It could be that seemingly at random, the computer is shutting itself down, powering off. Those are very different, but there's still output from the machine. You have to be able to take it, no matter what it is, as a troubleshooting gift. You've got to take it to yourself, to your mind, and begin to unwrap it and unpack it so that you can start to diagnose what the issue is. So you have to take this output from the machine and process it in your mind. You have to realize that whatever's happening, the error message or the symptom, is not the problem. That's not what you're trying to fix. The computer is doing what it ought to be doing. Okay? Even if the computer's shutting down what seems to be at random, you say, well, then the computer's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. No, you're thinking about it wrong. It's always doing what it's supposed to be doing. If you have a failing power supply in that server, okay, then it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. With a failing power supply, computers are supposed to have unstable, uneven power spreads, okay? And that simply means that sooner or later, the machine is going to power down. If your power supply is completely dead, I mean, it's just a complete paperweight, then the system may not turn on at all, or you might hit that power button, it might jump to life for a second, then might go back to its powered off state. In any of those cases, I'm telling you the computer is doing what it's supposed to be doing. With a failed power supply, that's what a computer is supposed to do. See, we live in an orderly world, and your mind has to be able to unpack that order so that you can get to the bottom of the issue, the actual root of the issue. Then once you find that issue, you can begin to work with it. So before we get into specifics of resolving specific errors, you need to understand the troubleshooting process, which is taking output from the computer, no matter what that output is. It could be squiggly lines on the screen, graphic artifacts. It could be erratic behavior. That could be the output from the computer that you're dealing with. But in any case, you're taking that output and you're beginning to unwrap it and unpack it in your mind. What are the component parts? Which parts are affected? When are these parts affected? What is it preventing me from doing? And then start to think, why would this be happening? What is most closely related to the error? We'll talk about that more in the next module.